you were also the one that was praising Elm Street remake.
I did not fucking praise that movie. My name is Nick from the Lost River Drive-In, and I've probably ruffled some feathers this evening with this comment I just made, but let me just double down. According to Stephen King himself, I'm going to just reiterate what he had to say. Dr. Sleep is superior to The Shining.
Bullshit! Bullshit!
Sorry.
Hey now. Welcome to another Uneeda horror podcast. I think we're knocking on 40 episodes. I don't know, Nick. We just got to be 38.
Yeah. Hey, we're almost over the hill, brother. We're right there.
We're about to be through the midlife on the Uneeda.
Mm-hmm.
So, Garrett, what's up, pimp? You're on the show tonight. What are we talking about tonight, Garrett? I don't even know. I can't even remember.
Man, what is up, guys? About time, right?
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so we're gonna be talking about some horror sequels, some good horror sequels, tonight. So I think that's gonna be our topic of conversation, and just kind of dig deep and find some sequels that we really enjoy.
See, I want to talk about your hoverboard back there. Is that thing like does it slide on carpet? Because I remember looking into one that was like the real.
Oh yeah.
Have you used it?
No, I mean I haven't stood on it, but I can slide it across carpet, and it has all the sound effects and stuff. So it actually was put out by Mattel, probably maybe like at this point, maybe like 10 years ago, I think. It came with like the actual Mattel box and stuff. Yeah, so that's one of my prized possessions over there is that sweet hoverboard.
What kind of shirt are you wearing? I always like to see what kind of shirts people
It is. I got a little George Romero, Michael Jackson rip. Look at that.
Look at that shit.
Woo.
Hell yeah.
And what kind of posters we got behind you? Because you're always rocking different posters, man. You put me to shame.
Yeah, where'd the X one go? Do I see? Is that Jason X back there?
Oh yeah, it is. I switched out my X for Jason X tonight.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I went a little sequel crazy on the posters back there. I figured I would butter you guys up a little bit with some of these titles I got here. I got Jason X. Look at H2, bro. H2.
Nick.
Yeah. I got Elm Street 2 and Texas Chainsaw Next Gen.
Oh damn.
Nick, do you like that Rob Zombie too? That's a promo, isn't it?
What
is that?
That's the H2 teaser. That's the first poster they released for that movie. That's the teaser poster. I had a T-shirt of that poster. That is sick.
Garrett,
yeah, man. That it's been a long time, man. So like again, I always go into things more or less, like especially back then, I was always going into things super positive about my experience, especially with horror. And I know that like horror posters can get a little bit expensive. So anything that was coming out that I was like somewhat intrigued by, I always wanted to snag like the original theatrical one sheet from the theaters. So everything back here is all originals except that Elm Street 2. That's a reprint.
That's an original Next Gen?
Oh yeah. So they're all like double-sided too. They're all double-sided as well. So they're the ones that like came straight out of the theater, the light boxes and stuff. So yeah, so I still do that, man. Anything that comes out that I'm like, oh man, like I'm interested in that. Like for the X one, for instance, I try to get my hands on them early because if in case one of these movies like really takes off, then that poster is going to be way out of my price range. So if I end up hating the movie, I can always kind of sell it off. So I have a ton of like backstock for over the years that I have. So, and it helps now that my father-in-law actually is retired and he works at the movie theater. So I just tell him, hey, here's all the movies I want. So X, like he grabbed X as soon as it came in because I don't know if it's on like a limited release, but he said they weren't even going to put it up. So he's like, I just told him, I asked him if I could have it, and they said, yeah, take it. So that's how I was able to get it because I haven't even seen any on eBay, to be honest.
Right.
Yeah, I'm wondering about that with X because my theater, which is a Regal, it's only showing it like 3 showtimes a day. It's not getting much play around here. So like when I went to see it, I was like, oh, cool. My options are noon, 3 o'clock, and 7. Like it's just weird
Right.
time frames. Like and that was it. So yeah, I think it might be on some kind of limited release, which is kind of a bummer. I wanted to see this thing take off more, but word of mouth's great. So
I agree. And with that being said, did you notice that there was any X posters hanging in the theater or no?
there was outside the theater. There was at my theater. They have 4 on the left of the building and 4 on the right of the building as you're walking into the doors. And the X poster was the last one on the right.
Okay,
So
cool.
it was outside. Yeah.
Now, do you remember who was on that? Because the one I have has
Mia Goth.
Yeah, that's the one I have. I'm curious to see if there was other ones out there, with all the different characters. 'Cause I've seen all those, but I don't know if they were released or they were just kind of online. But I was curious to see if there was any of those out there.
Yeah, I'd get one with Brittany Snow on it in a fucking heartbeat.
I want the Matthew McConaughey dude.
Martin Henderson, yeah.
Dude, was that when I saw that trailer for the first time, I said to my wife, like, what is this Matthew McConaughey like horror movie? And then it was not him, and I was like, what the hell?
He was just like him, man.
Oh my god, dead on.
He's actually he's in a movie that I'm going to talk about tonight, a sequel.
No shit.
That guy, yep, Martin Henderson.
Yeah, we're getting there. I'm still chilling and grilling right now. You know, Garrett, I've got what you call them video store rental stores. You know, when they became available on DVD and stuff at the Blockbusters. I've got a couple of those. Like I've got Street Fighter. I just hung that up on my little shed today. Street Fighter the movie. I've got Demonic Toys. I got that cheap. Who the hell wants that though? You know, I'm a
dude.
We
gotta talk Demonic Toys one day. I think we should do a rad recommendation Demonic Toys because
that's good stuff.
It's one of those ones that it's like for some reason more than like most other like horror movies back then when I was a kid. I thought that was like the coolest thing. Like, and I used to just crack up at like at the little lines that Oopsie Daisy would throw at like the guard and stuff like that. I always thought it was like so funny, and I always I loved like Boy or whatever the kid's name was. I forget. Like he reminded me of Boy from like Little Monsters or whatever, like the kid. So I think that'd be kind of a cool one to talk about. It's wild.
All day. I'd love to. I actually got I hung it up today because I was moving stuff around my not Rocktober Blood, Slaughterhouse. Oh, you can see it, yeah, Slaughterhouse Rock. I bought this thing. Here's the crazy thing. I bought it on Amazon for $12.
Wow.
It is folded. But you know, I've lucked out. Cindy got me a Halloween 3 original that was rolled. And she got me that like a decade ago. I don't know how much those are going for now, but I kind of like the folded every once in a while. They got, sometimes when you buy prints, you can see the folds because they use the folded poster to print it,
It's man, it's tough with the poster game because for me I'll buy reprints, especially for movies that I want to hang up because to frame 27 by 41s are the worst. Like you've got to like each frame is like $70. Like it's not something you can just go and get. So I have so many like 27 by 41s, but I think I just got to bite the bullet and at least buy 4 frames that I can like switch these out every once in a while just because I have so much cool stuff. And so sometimes I'll buy reprints. Like for instance, that Elm Street, I have it signed by Patton. And it was a reprint because I wasn't going to spend the money on a part 2 original, especially if I couldn't frame it. So that's why like a lot of the ones you see behind me, like all these are originals because they're all like they came out after 90s, so they all fit in those poster frames. So I mean, you can get those at Walmart for like $20 a piece, but 27 by you add an extra inch and it's like $70 frames. It's crazy.
Right. Yeah, that's what I had to do. That's what I had to do with that Slaughterhouse and Halloween 3 at just 27 by 41. What the hell is that problem? What is that all about? 27 by 41?
Yeah.
God almighty.
It's crazy.
All right, Nick. Talk to me. Do you want to start off so this is what we're doing. We're doing awesome horror sequels. Now I told Garrett and I was basically telling Nick this don't need to be us talking about Nightmare on Elm Street and Halloween and Friday the 13th. Everybody's seen them damn movies. What are we're telling them something they already know, So I just wanted us to dig deep. Now that doesn't mean that it can't be something that's not well known. Maybe it's something that you just love. You want people to talk about. I don't know what you guys' lists are, but I told Nick I got some rando ones, but I also got one of my favorites that it was from a big movie, but the sequel is so great. I love it. It's so different, but it just takes a back seat to the first movie. So I got movies like that on my list. So Nick, what are we looking? What's your list looking like? You want to start us off?
Yeah. And this is in no particular order. These are just 7 that, hey man, I think they kick ass. And the first one I'm going to go with. Hold
on, Nick. Now, Garrett, this is gauntlet mode tonight. So if you disagree with one of these sequels that Nick says, you don't do it to me because I'm special. You can't mess with me. But if you disagree with anything Nick says, you say, "You stupid son of a bitch" at me.
You know, I'll see what he says, but I'm usually pretty open with those things. There's a lot of crap I like, but
vice versa, Nick. You can go after Garrett now.
Now, how about this? If anybody, are we going to do is he going to go all 7? Is he going to do 1? You do 1, I do 1, and go around?
We'll go around town. We'll do now, lazy Susan.
If someone brings up one that we have, do you want to just all say, yeah, that was on ours too, or do you want to just go?
Yeah, I think we should do that because this is in no particular order. I don't have them ranked from 1 to 7. It's just 7. I'll throw them out at any random time. Yeah, so if one of us says one and another one of us has it on our list, when it gets to us, we can be like, yeah, that was another one I wanted to talk about. So what do you think, Christian?
That's fine, man. Let's just roll with it. Whatever happens, happens. There's no looking back.
All right. Well, this movie, I feel like it's lost in the shuffle because the first one was moderately successful, I think, and also just gross and gave people a bad taste in their mouth. Hostel Part 2.
I knew it. I fucking knew it, you son of a bitch. Good pick, but I knew you were going Hostel. City was like, go Hostel. I said no, because Nick's going Hostel. I fucking know he's going Hostel.
Yeah. No, Hostel. I didn't see the first one at theaters, but I saw the second one in theaters. And I was definitely too young to see that in theaters at the time. Would that come out 08, 09, something like that? It was late 2000s.
Late 2000s.
And yeah, and dude, I think it's better than the first one. I really do. I don't know if it's the chick hanging upside down over the bathtub and getting scythed up and bathing in blood, or if it's the dude getting his wiener cut off and fed to the dog. But Hostel Part 2 is a banger, man. And my wife is not really big into the first one, so I was worried about showing her the second one. I was like, she didn't really like the first one. I don't know if she'll like this one. She loved the second one. So I think it satiates you if you have a taste for gore. I love Hostel Part 2.
Out of curiosity, does anybody have I guess I didn't really. I don't know what the goddamn definition truly is of sequel. Mine actually are all part 2s, but does anybody have part 3s or 4s?
I have a 5. I have a prequel. Yeah, no.
Yeah. No, I've only got 2s, man.
That's fine. I got 2. So Nick's the weirdo tonight. Nick, listen, Nick. I gotta say though, Hostel 3. Nobody watches Hostel 3. I
have seen it. I have seen it. I did not hate it. I didn't hate it.
I like Hostel 3. What's wrong with Hostel 3?
There's nothing wrong with Hostel 3. The only thing that it's just a little jarring to me compared to the first 2 because it's definitely smaller budget. It was direct to video. You can just tell the same, I don't know, the quality isn't as high as the first 2. It's not a bad movie, but it's just, if you watch them in succession, you're just kind of like, yeah, that one kind of is a step down. I just think, for me, objectively, it just does seem like a step down, but it's not bad. I think they could have released it in theaters. I mean, the first 2 were moderately successful. I don't know why they didn't, but yeah, I don't dislike it.
Okay, I'll accept that answer. Garrett, I'm gonna let you go last, dude, because I have no idea what the hell you're gonna say tonight. I have no idea,
dude. It's probably it's actually nothing too crazy. You're probably gonna be like, half of those are on my list.
I'm gonna laugh my ass off if you have this movie on your list. My first pick of the night. Now, people listening right now, get out your Amazon accounts, pull up your eBay accounts, get your wallets ready, because my first pick is an awesome sequel that nobody's fucking seen.
Hobgoblins 2.
No, sir. my number 7, and I really like this movie. This isn't an ironic pick. My number 7 is The Gate Part 2. Has anybody seen The Gate Part 2 here?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I'm a big Gate fan, so I've definitely seen Part 2. It's not on my list, but yeah, I've definitely seen it.
I certainly don't think it's it has like the magic of the first
No.
Gate, which I do think the Gate is so. I remember the first time I watched the Gate, this movie seemed so unsuspecting, and then it keeps getting bigger and better and bigger, and then there's that giant weird monster thing that has that weird. But I love that part two is almost like this behind the scenes look at the world, and the kid with the glasses, he captures one of those little minions and he's got it in the jar.
Yeah.
And it's slow. It's a slower movie, but I just like it. I think it's it's different. It's not being the same film, maybe because it couldn't be. I believe the kid left acting and then got back into acting. Somebody told me that's the dude from Blade or something, the villain from Blade.
Oh, it's Steven Dorff from the first
Steven
one.
Dorff. Yeah,
he
didn't.
Yeah.
I remember watching the special features on the Part
Oh.
2 Blu-ray, and his parents were like, the kid ain't acting. We put him back in school. He's not going to be an actor. So that's why he wasn't in Part 2. So then they got the other brother, the other dude, the friend, and it's mostly him. And I just think it's an interesting, fun little sequel that I didn't even know existed till Scream Factory put out the Blu-ray. And because I love The Gate so much, I was like, well, I have to get The Gate too. And it's just a fun little movie. I like it. I think it's pretty good. So I got to put The Gate
for sure.
there.
Yeah, that's a good pick. And I have not watched the special features on that Scream Factory. So now that you bring that up, like I had no idea why Steven Dorff wasn't in that sequel.
Right.
And what's funny is I actually had somebody, a friend of mine, get me Steven Dorff's autograph on a Gate poster this past weekend. So I'm waiting for her to ship this.
You
ship it
bastard.
back to me. But yeah, he was at Monster Mania and I couldn't make it, so I sent her a poster. She got it signed for me. So, which is pretty cool. But yeah, I had no idea that why he wasn't in that movie. But at least it kind of gave that other kid a little bit more credit. And I like when sequels, kind of have to do with the original one. So the fact that he reprised that role, like to me, like I like when things connect. If it was just like a whole new brand new crop of kids, and to me, it would probably have been as good.
Right. Yeah. All right, Garrett, where the hell are we going in the
All right, so actually, I actually do have a couple threes in here. I had two part threes.
Threes? There's no good. There is no good part 3 in the world.
Well, then I'm going to throw it out with a bang then, because you're going to, and you know this, Exorcist 3 is
that is also on. It's also on my list. So you just took a note. Yep.
Exorcist 3. I mean, what can you say? That movie is like, it's right on par with the original. I think it's I'm not gonna say it's better because I think they're different, but I mean it's so entertaining and it's so creepy, and the performances are really good. And I know that this movie wasn't intended to be an Exorcist sequel, and they kind of ended up maneuvering it to kind of fit the Exorcist timeline there. But man, there's some creepy moments in this movie, and I think it's definitely one that if people see part 2, they might try to ignore part 3, and I recommend definitely checking this thing out for sure.
What's wrong with part 2, Gary? You got a problem with the heretic?
Oh man,
you have a problem with the heretic too, don't you lie?
I own the heretic. The heretic's back there in the wall. I got it on Blu-ray.
Listen, I have it as well, but I'm not going to say anything bad because I'm a huge Linda Blair guy. So anything Linda Blair is tolerable to me. I think it's a crappy movie, but it's got Linda Blair in it, so I'm cool with it.
She tap dances.
Hell yeah,
she
tap
dances.
No, for real. I tell you, Garrett, I have no problem dying on this hill. To me, it's no question that Exorcist 3 is the best Exorcist. That's just me. It's no question.
I'm not going to stand for this blasphemy, Christian, okay? Garrett said it right, okay? Let's just leave it at that. They're both very different. They both do what they're intended to do very well, but they're very different.
But the people want me to be honest. I'm just being honest. I think
you can speak the truth.
I think The Exorcist is great, but I mean, come on, George C. Scott. I mean, he's the man. What else can I say? George C. Scott's one of the greatest actors of all time.
Split it down the middle and just tell the people that why Exorcist: The Beginning is actually the best Exorcist movie.
You know what? I think a good show would actually be talking about Exorcist: The Beginning and Dominion, because that whole debacle. I mean, I still don't really understand how that went. I remember I saw one in the theater. Must have been the beginning, because I think that's the one that hit the theater. But then Dominion came out and it was like, no, we're the real prequel and da da da. And I really don't understand the whole. maybe you guys do, what the deal was with that. Why were there 2 prequels that came out around the same time and then both fighting for like what was the real prequel? I still don't get it, but
they felt
I have them both on DVD, but that's about it.
It was really more of a studio thing, is from what I read, in a directorial thing of like the beginning. I think was the first one to come out, and they didn't feel. I don't know if it was the studio or the director didn't feel like their vision was properly like put onto screen. So, and they felt like, oh, we missed the boat on releasing this, so let's pull back on this one. Let's go change some things and then put it back out there, and maybe it'll really hit big once we fix a few things here and there. Christian might know more about it than me, but I have read up on it before, and that's what I read, is that they part of it, they thought they just put it out at a bad time and people didn't notice or what. I'm like, no, it just sucked, and that's why nobody cared. But I don't know. Christian, you got any more to expand upon that?
I do, actually, because both of those movies are actually on my list.
What? No,
I'm kidding.
I was gonna say those aren't sequels. They're not sequels.
No, I don't know. To be honest with you, Nick, I can't say that I've ever dove into the backstories of these Exorcist movies that much. I mean, just Exorcist 3. I know. I don't know. I'm sure what you probably said was probably key on it. It could have been like, how the fuck is this not doing well? We got to try again.
That's pretty much what it was. Yeah. It was.
Yeah, it could be one of those things. So,
like, oh, you know what? People just missed it. We'll throw it back out there and change it up a little bit, and we'll say we're the real prequel, and people respond to it. And they didn't. So, yeah. But yeah, Garrett, I had the Exorcist 3 on my list as well. I pretty much echo everything you said. I do not echo what Christian said. I still take the original, but it is very close. I'll give him that.
It's not close to me, dude. It's shit.
Okay. The next one I'm going to mention, and I from what Garrett just said, it sounds like I might get like chastised for this. So
I hope you do, Garrett. Don't you dare hold back, dude.
No. Well, it's not a sequel. It's a prequel, and maybe that is like fudging up. Maybe that's fudging up the rules, but it's part of a franchise. It was also like the latest one to come out, aside from another prequel years later that had a different actor and nobody gave a shit about. Everybody always talks about Silence of the Lambs and Hannibal, but Red Dragon, I am a big fan of Red Dragon. And that was actually my introduction to Ray Fiennes, who obviously went on to play Voldemort, and Q in the James Bond movies, or not Q, M, my dumbass. I really liked Red Dragon. I mean, they got all the important people back. Obviously Anthony Hopkins. But the only issue I had with it is that you're trying to sell me that this is right before Silence of the Lambs, when clearly it was like 10 years later that you filmed it. So everyone looks older, and it's like this, but Edward Norton, like, I like the movie. I think it's better than Hannibal. And Hannibal, I enjoy Hannibal, but it just didn't have the magic that Silence of the Lambs had. So Red Dragon, I really like a lot. I feel like if you went Red Dragon and then watched the Silence of the Lambs, I feel like that's a good double feature there. So yeah, I like Red Dragon.
Do you want me to handle this, Garrett? Because I know you're a man of class. Do you want me to handle this?
Yeah, you can take over. You can take over. Sure.
I'll give it to you, Nick. Red Dragon's a pretty good movie, but it's no Manhunter.
Manhunter. I knew you were going to talk about Manhunter.
I was going to say that. But you know what? I will agree, and I think Red Dragon, even though it's, in my opinion, no Manhunter, the thing with Manhunter, I think Manhunter's a great movie, but it is kind of weird because, it's not the same Lecter, right? So it's a little bit off. Something feels a little bit missing. But I think Red Dragon is a pretty good adaptation of Manhunter, and I also think that it is better than Hannibal as well.
I gotta say, guys, I really like Hannibal. I think it's aging like a fine wine to me. I go back and revisit Hannibal, and I actually have a pretty good time with Hannibal.
I like it too, but my problem is the casting of Julianne Moore. She just doesn't work in the movie. Like, I mean, Jodie Foster, I thought, did really well in The Silence of the Lambs. The chemistry between Lecter and Clarice is just not there in the second one. I feel like it's very forced. And as an audience member too, fresh off of Silence of the Lambs, it's not the same person. It just doesn't feel the same to you. I don't know.
There was a time where Julianne Moore she was literally just in everything. From the mid 90s to early, she was just you couldn't get away from her. I like all these movies. Being serious, like I do love Manhunter, but that's such a great stylized. Michael Mann is one of the greatest directors ever. But I like Red Dragon too. I mean, obviously, like you said, it's like, why does Lecter look old? Older, Let's be honest though. Like I'll say this, man. This is just me. Nothing. I don't care who it is. Not even Michael Mann. Nobody could touch Demi's Silence of the Lambs. That movie is literally one of the best ever. And Garrett, I'm sorry, dude. Tell me why. Why do I say that Silence of the Lambs is one of the greatest horror films ever made? And these people say it's a psychological thriller.
Yeah, you know what? To me, there's a lot of things that kind of fall inside horror that they don't want it. They try to put a spin on it, but to me, it still falls in the same vein, regardless of what they want to call it or not.
If people want to muddy up the waters with labeling the subgenre of a movie, I mean, the roots of it are horror. You could say horror, mystery, thriller, crime, whatever you want. Right. It doesn't matter. It's a horror at the end of the day. So the only movie I haven't seen in that franchise is Hannibal Rising. Never had any interest in it at all.
I like it. It's not fucking bad.
I saw it in the theater actually, and I have it on DVD. But man, it's been a real long time since I've seen it. I mean, if you're asking me about it, like I can remember him being young and like running through, like running away, like in this field. I really don't remember too much about it to really give an opinion on if it holds up or not. But
you need to go see it.
It was just too jarring for me without Hopkins. Like I just felt like somebody else playing that role. I get it's a prequel, but it just didn't draw me in. It's not Anthony Hopkins. I don't know.
The show was pretty good. I saw some of the show too. I think your boy from Child's Play was writing some of them episodes too.
Yeah, that's
Mancini was involved in the show.
Yeah, Mads Mikkelsen plays Hannibal, right? Yeah, I love Mads Mikkelsen. So, all right, Christian, what's your next one?
I'll give you that one.
Okay.
Okay, so this is actually the first movie is one of the biggest movies ever. And I talked to people literally yesterday. The reason I have this on my list is because I was talking to somebody yesterday about this movie. Like, you know what? I never saw that. Is it worth seeing it? I said, is it worth seeing it? Are you kidding me? I got it. I'm sorry, guys. This is probably the biggest movie on my list. Motherfucking Gremlins 2 is one of the best ever. This is Joe Dante. We got to understand that first movie, that's Spielberg. He had to just go in and do this, because that first movie is going to be a lot more bombastic and evil. But in Gremlins 2, Dante just went super over the top, and that movie is so. Christopher Lee is in it. You got
Hulk Hogan.
Gremlins. Oh, that Hulk Hogan scene is the funniest thing ever. I love Gremlins 2 is literally taking the Gremlins stuff, spinning on his head, poking fun at it. That's Joe Dante. It could be the best Joe Dante movie. It's really could be one of the best Joe. I love Joe Dante, all the stuff, Matinee, everything he's done. He's so good. Little Soldiers, Toy Story, whatever movie was. He's so good, but this movie is so insane. I can't imagine having to film a movie like this. It just seems ridiculous, but it's so entertaining. They make fun of the Gremlins. Like, how does this work? What if it's 6 a.m.? That's past midnight. Yeah. What's the time frame? What if they start eating something, but then they throw it up? Or what if they do this? Like, what happens if they get a piece of food stuck in their teeth and then they make fun of the whole thing. It's so good. Gremlins 2 is so, I think it's as good as the first one in its own right. So people watch Gremlins 2 for God's sakes. It's that good. I mean, am I right?
I love Gremlins 2. To me, I wouldn't compare it to the original again in the same vein as like we said with Exorcist. It's just very different. I think Gremlins 2 is what the people were expecting with Gremlins, because as you kind of know, Gremlins, the big problem is that based on the commercial, they thought it was like going to be this fun, happy-go-lucky kids film, and they ended up like kids crying and screaming in the theater when all of a sudden that egg hatched for the first time and realized, oh shit, this thing's turned into a horror movie here. And it was very not warned in a sense. So when they came out with Gremlins 2, like it almost feels like, hey, they made it a little slapsticky and being like, hey, you know what? It's okay if you bring your kids on this because it's a little bit more, tongue in cheek than the first one was. But I think they're both really well done. I'm a big Gremlins fan. And I think that it's just, again, I'm cool with anything Gremlins. And I think Gremlins is one that could be remade, or a part 3 could still work now. The problem is just, the practical effects were just so good back then. I just don't want it to screw it up. But I would love to see more Gremlin stuff nowadays.
And the brain gremlin's my favorite. I got the Mecha did a brain gremlin where he's got like the suit on with the blue blazer costume and
Oh
the
yeah, yeah,
glasses.
yeah, yeah. Oh yeah.
I love that scene. I love that scene so much. But that's a big fear of mine, man. If they ever redid Gremlins, you'd know they want to CGI it, and I think it's one of those things where it could kind of be like a Ghostbusters Afterlife.
Mhm.
You know, kind of like it can be in this world that it's not like starting over, and you can have. I don't know if you could bring your boy back if he'd be into that. I'm sure he
Well,
would. If
did you see that Mountain Dew commercial they did? Remember that was a big hit for a while. So if
right,
they, it
right.
kind of worked. It kind of worked in that commercial with him and Gizmo, and you kind of like, why can't they spin off this? Like he could have his. I think in the commercial, does he give Gizmo to his daughter or something? I don't know, something like that. I thought.
Yeah, I remember that
So
commercial.
that
I
could
don't
be
know.
like to me, like that's a whole story in and of itself, right? And then we know how everybody knowing like, hey, here are the rules, and if you break them, this is what's going to happen. So now that most people know about it, you can kind of see it coming. They can do a lot of like Final Destination type shit where you think that something's going to happen, it doesn't, and then for some other way he gets wet or something, And I think it would be pretty fun, but again, it's just we got to be very. The CGI could be a hit or miss, I think, in my opinion.
Right. Nick, Gremlins 2. I mean, what else would you say? It's great, right?
Yeah, no, that was the first one I saw. I saw that before I saw the first one when I was a kid. I loved that one. So yeah, there's really nothing else to add. I'm a big fan.
I should be clear. Gremlins 2, the new batch.
Yes.
I can never forget the tagline. Garrett, where the hell are we going next, man?
Well, speaking of Gremlins 2, the new batch, I know you're a video game guy. Do you have that for, was it Nintendo? There was one, remember?
I was literally just playing it before we did this.
No way,
I'm not
really?
even kidding. I swear to
Oh,
God.
man, I loved that when I was a kid. I loved that because I don't think there was another Gremlins. It was just that one, right? The new batch was the only game, right?
It's so funny because I have the NECA new batch Gremlin, where the Gremlin is like all those spotty, weird colors, like based off of the video game. So I've been going through boxes of shit, getting my little shed situated, and I found that, and I was like, oh my God, I love this video game, and so I was playing it a little while ago.
Yeah, that's awesome. I'd actually be interested in learning more about your game collecting and stuff because, again, I'm older than you guys, right? So for you to have this stuff, to me, it's wild because like how Nintendo couldn't have been the thing when you were a kid, no?
And now,
so you had to go back, right?
We got a. My grandma gave us a Nintendo around 95, and then we got a 64 the same year. And then 2 years later, my dad got a Super Nintendo from my neighbor. And then my brother was really big Nintendo guy. I liked Nintendo, but when I got my Sega Genesis in 99 or 2000, that's my thing. I'm a Sega Genesis fanatic. Then I got my Saturn. Every birthday, I told my dad I want the next Sega console, Dreamcast. I've got all of it. And then I just became obsessed with it. So I've collected retro stuff, Game Gear, all of it for the better part of a decade, over a decade now. So I've got a very extensive retro gaming collection.
To me, it's crazy that say that you got a Nintendo the same year the 64 came out. They weren't still selling Nintendos that far in, were they? Or did you get it from somebody?
We got to remember, Garrett, Nintendo published its last official games for the system for the NES in 94 with Wario's
That's
Woods.
nuts because that means like Super Nintendo was already like on its way out and Nintendo was still making games. That's crazy to think about.
Crazy, right? I mean, the Nintendo just kept going. Ninja Turtles Tournament Fighters and Wario's Woods. Those games are super expensive, especially the Ninja Turtles Tournament Fighters, because they literally came out in 1994. So I don't remember if it was a retail purchase, but you can imagine getting your hands on one was probably very, very, very easy in the mid 90s, whether we got it at a whatever kind of store. So, but
that's interesting. I'm interested to learn about that because we were big gamers. I'm not a gamer now. I was a big gamer as a kid. My brother is like, with the way I am with movies, he's with games. So as you kind of know, like with his band and stuff like that. So he was always huge into games growing up. And we had actually, it's funny you say that, we had a Saturn, which nobody had. And the fact that you said you had it, it's
Great
like I
system.
felt like I was like the only kid that had a Saturn that I knew. Me and my
Probably
friend
were.
Mark, and that's it. And that's it. And it was like, and I can remember though, like loving it and going to the rental stores and being like, shit, there's like no games. And like
no games.
That was the big thing at the time. It was just there was no games. So we ended up like, I think I ended up getting 64 shortly after because I was so pissed that I'm like, there was nothing to rent ever. So,
I know it.
But
Yeah, we could have a whole conversation about that soon, man. I have so much worthless knowledge on Sega. I'd love to talk to you about it. I have so much
let's
worthless
maybe do a
knowledge.
Sega Saturn thing or something because I don't want to. I want to get back to what we were talking about here, but I just thought it was funny that you about the new batch and all that stuff. So
yes, sir.
Where are we going? So all right, so I'm going to do a part 3 on this. Again, now after that Nick said that it's technically called part 3, but it is, I guess, a prequel. And it is Paranormal Activity 3. Which is my favorite of the whole series.
Me too.
Personally.
Same here.
All right. So it was just awesome at the time. Like I liked Paranormal Activity. I think the first 2 I liked. I liked this one a lot. Then to me, they start blending together. I forget, like I know marked ones because that one took place somewhere else, but they start to become very blurry to me. And when I saw the first one in theaters, I remember my wife and I coming home. We had just gotten married at the time and being like freaked out at the house after seeing it. Like we're like, oh, did something just move? Like that never happens to me when it comes to movies, and that one did it for us with Paranormal Activity. And so we made it a ritual that we were going to go to these all the time, every year it came out. And when part 3 came out, I just thought it was just super cool because it took place in like the 80s. And what I liked about it the most is not only just the story in general, but the aesthetics of the house and the furniture. And, they had like these old wooden chairs with like the springy metal bottoms. And I'm like, dude, those were the chairs I had growing up, like in my kitchen. Like, and it was just so crazy that like they got all that right. It was like a cool looking, like 80s funky house. And I always just was really into this one. And I don't know if it has to do with when it took place, or the story or what, but I love part 3. And I feel like it's one that people just don't really say much about.
Nick could probably talk more about this because Nick's nerdy with details, but like they did really good. They did really good stuff. I mean, Nick, remember that part where they put the camera on the fan? Like that is an experimental thing, but it's suspenseful.
Yep.
So like it brought the audience in.
The best part about it too is that nothing really happens in that scene too, which is at least not till the very end of it. But like, no, yeah, it's an elongated scene on just like an oscillating fan that works tremendously. I mean, I don't even know. Paranormal Activity 3 was, for a found footage movie, it was ahead of its time. And you might hear that and say like, well, what the hell are you talking about? Like found footage had already pretty much been done to death at that point. Yes, but they did a lot of interesting and there was a lot of ingenuity in the camera angles, how they use the camera. I would say the first 3 movies are like that in different ways. There's some interesting techniques with the cameras. It wasn't until part 4 where you really started to get your more cookie cutter, like ghost found footage movie. But yes, no, the Paranormal Activity 3, I had that on the list and I crossed it off because Christian was pressuring me and he didn't even mean to. He was just like, I wanted to try to go with movies I haven't talked a lot about before because I myself have talked about that movie a lot on episodes of the podcast because that's my favorite Paranormal Activity movie. So right. Yeah, I completely agree. That movie kicks ass.
Well, good pick. Thanks, where are we going back to Nicholas now?
Yeah. I guess we'll roll into my next one. And this one's a bummer to me. I really hate how this one was received, and I understand why. Because the one before this one sucked butthole, and people thought there was. People thought there wasn't going to be another one, and there was, and it was the least successful out of all of them. But I think it's the best one since the first one. There's an argument for the second one, but Final Destination 5.
Is that Final Destination or is it Final Destination 5? I get so confused.
I do too, man. That's the problem.
It's Final Destination 5. The Final Destination is the 4th one. The overbloated CGI bullshit one where the dude literally gets his butthole sucked out through a pool.
I like that one so much. I swear to God, I do.
What's the one with the dude? They all blend to me after like part 2. What's the one with like the gymnast?
Is that's 4?
Yeah, that's just one I remember. That's one death that I
I
remember
think.
a lot.
I don't know. I know exactly what scene you're talking about, but I want to get it. It's 4 or 5. So we're right in the wheelhouse there.
Yeah.
It's one of these two.
Now, in
They
neither
all
of
blend
these,
together because there's so many fucking scenes that I think
like
about. Like the tanning salon is probably one of my
Oh yeah,
all-time
and
favorites.
part 3, yeah, roller coaster of love's playing while they're
roller
burning up. Yeah,
coaster. Yeah.
it's great. But the reason I put Final Destination 5 on here is because surprisingly, I say this all the time, like a movie this late into a franchise has no business being this good, and this movie it actually was pretty well received by critics for a Final Destination movie because it all ties back into the first one. You find out that the people in this one are boarding the plane to go to Paris from the first one. So it's like, I guess technically you'd say it's a prequel, even though they titled it Final Destination 5. Doesn't really make much sense there. But no, I really love the way that this blended into the original story, and I didn't see it coming. And I think that the CGI was way, way better than the previous one. That was awful. And it added a human element to it in the sense of, you get Tony Todd's character in this movie basically saying, like, the way to avert death is, kill someone. Like, take the life of someone else in death's chain from that event. And if you kill them, you're good. You have cheated death. So now you get these group of friends, literally some of them trying to kill each other just so they don't have to die as part of death's plan. I thought it was really cool. I really did. So I'm throwing my hat in the ring for Final Destination 5.
Now
I
that
think they
wasn't.
all have their place in history. I think
Yeah.
all of them have their place in history.
What's 3D? Is that 6? What is that one?
That's 4. There's only 5 of them.
Oh, that's 4. There's only all right.
4 ain't that bad, Garrett. It ain't that bad.
Dude, you know what? I've seen them all, but it's been a while since I've seen 3, 4, and 5. So I think especially 4 and 5 to me felt like very more alike. So I just have a tough time remembering like the different things. But
he's right though. Like the final one is better. It is good. I remember saying to myself, "Damn, I really like this one." And I like that they numbered it again. They're like, "Fuck it, let's just number it."
It's
like,
a prequel, but
yeah.
So I don't get that, but I love it. I love it.
Oh man,
Christian, where are you going?
All right, so this is my third one in a row that starts with the letter G. So we did The Gate, and we did Gremlins 2.
I know where you're going now.
This one is for all my people out there that haven't even tapped into the Charlie Band Empire world. For God's sake, watch the first one, but then watch Ghoulies 2. Because Ghoulies 2 is going to give you more of what you probably think of in your head. So, because the first Ghoulies, which is still my favorite, first Ghoulies is kind of like a witch movie, all right? It's a great movie. But Ghoulies 2 is going to really satisfy the imagery that you create in your mind. It's really great. Unfortunately, I did not. Ghoulies 3, Ghoulies Go to College did not make the cut for my list for
damn
awesome sequels. But maybe if we do a part 2, it would definitely be my number 1. No, but Ghoulies 2, man, it's a great little flick. Fun fact is that they were making Ghoulies 2. They were making Ghoulies around the same times Gremlins was. So people call it a ripoff, but the history is a little blurry on this. We don't really know who's ripping off what or who's ripping off who. It's interesting. And Joe Dante has even commented on this. And he's actually a fan. Joe Dante likes Ghoulies. So that's pretty cool. But Ghoulies 2, man, give it a shot, give it a watch, but please watch 1 and 2. They're really it's probably some of the biggest, if not the biggest franchise that Charlie Band ever did besides Puppet Master. I mean, the Ghoulies they've made it. They've broken that glass ceiling, and they're in the world of horror. People know Ghoulies, whether they've seen the movie or not. But Ghoulies 2.
Did this come out before or after New Batch, Ghoulies 2? Do you know?
I think Ghoulies 2 was 88 or 89. Let me see. I think it was late 80s. I think.
And the only reason I say that is because it kind of runs in the, like I was saying earlier, in the same idea where Ghoulies 2, like you said, is more what you expected Ghoulies to be, especially after seeing that poster. And then, seeing that poster, knowing Gremlins, and then watching Ghoulies, the original one, to me as a kid was always kind of like, what am I watching? Like, this isn't what I was expecting.
Right.
And I think Ghoulies 2 kind of takes that New Batch route, kind of where it's like, you know what, we're going to give you what you kind of thought you were going to get the first time.
Yes.
So that's why I was just curious if who came first, Batch or this with that.
Ghoulies 2 is 88. Ghoulies 2 is 88, and so Ghoulies 3, I believe, not that it matters. I think Ghoulies Go to College is 90 or 91. But I want to say something really quick. I was just Googling it to see the year. I hate to bring this up because this really has nothing to do with this. Who the fuck do these people on Rotten Tomatoes think they are? Ghoulies 2 has a 14% rating. The joke is on you to break down. You know, Garrett, we did this episode where I was telling Nick, everybody's a fucking critic. Everybody's like, I didn't care for the characters. The development wasn't there. The story wasn't fleshed out. On Ghoulies 2?
Yeah,
what the fuck is wrong with you people? What is going on here? I'm sorry, but it's just like,
I mean, no, I get it. I mean, people like the things they like and they don't like. I think a lot of it also has to do kind of with not like you said, like Ghoulies 2, it's not really a big deal. For me, it's kind of one of those things like if I like it, cool, I like it, I'll probably continue to watch it. If I don't like it, whatever, I don't like it, it probably won't be something I'll watch too often. And if it didn't really hit me. So, and that's kind of the end with it with me. It's not worth me like debating people on certain things, right? Like it's just not worth it for me to do. I have other shit I need to get worried about. But you know, for people that do that kind of stuff, you know, you just wonder like this what else? Why even go down that road? It's like if you like it, you like it. If not, you're not.
About a movie with a mutant rat and a
like especially something like Ghoulies too. Like, are we really going to get that detailed? And like, this wasn't a perfect movie. You know,
it's on Tubi, by the way, people. So no excuses. Go watch Ghoulies 2. Get off your asses and watch it. Because I'm talking to you right now. If you're listening to this, I know you haven't seen it. Anyway.
All right. So you know what? I'll stick to kind of the topic at hand right now. And especially with Christian being on this show. My next great sequel is Puppet Master 2.
Let's go.
Puppet Master 2. Yeah, baby. That was always my favorite, man. Always my favorite. Even as a kid, it was the one. I actually saw that first. To be honest, I knew the name Puppet Master. Like it was kind of something that when I was a kid, the kids were talking about, like, oh, did you see Puppet Master? Did you Puppet Master? And it was always one of those things like, oh, you know, killer toys. Like that sounds so cool. And do you remember that other movie, Puppet Master? Like it was like it didn't have any. It was like a mainstream movie. You know that one?
Funny story about that. So when I was trying to complete, which I still need Puppet Master 4 on Laserdisc. I have 1, 2, 3, and 5. Every time I'd go on eBay and type in Puppet Master Laserdisc, fucking Donald Sutherland's big ass face would be right up in me every time because it was the Puppet Master. It was his movie for Laserdisc all the time. I've subsequently seen the movie expecting to just be so pissed off because I was like, fuck you, you're always in my face when I want you to see you. It's actually a good movie, The Puppet Master.
I've never watched the whole thing because I saw Puppet Master 2 on TV. I saw Puppet Master 2 on TV and I taped it. I might still even have like a recorded tape. And my brother and I loved it like so much. And it just reminded me of like a cool like 80s kind of little horror movie with toys. And then I was trying to find the other ones and I bought the VHS of Puppet Master, but it was that Donald Sutherland one and thinking it was the first one of the part 2. So I remember watching it and being like, what the hell is this? And then, you know, I didn't see the original Puppet Master for years and years until I got that first box set, I think, or maybe the VHS. I forget. Must have been the VHS tape. But speaking of what you have in your hand there, man, I realized like I need to get that. I need to find out how to get that again. Yeah, like I have the old box, the gray one. It only came with like I think 2 movies or something.
Hey, that's still a charming little set, though, man. I remember you one time we were talking about it on Instagram. I was gushing over the movie to you, and you were showing me your full moon stuff.
Oh yeah. I mean, but I've been seeing people post like videos of that, and I'm like, you know what? Like, if that thing ever goes on sale again, like I gotta jump on it because that is a real nice set, and to just have them all together, you know, yeah, it's cool. There's not enough cool stuff like that out anymore, you know, and it's definitely something I want to try to pick up. But yeah, I mean, have you, Nick, have you seen Puppet Master 2? I don't know how big of a fan you are of the guy.
I've seen every Puppet Master movie aside from The Littlest Reich. I think that's the newest one, most recent one.
Yes.
Yeah, no, I actually, I went into those movies at a time like where I had been made aware by a lot of people for whatever reason that, oh, you know, these aren't very good. people would compare Puppet Master movies to like the Leprechaun movies, and I don't see it. I think the Puppet Master movies are definitely a little bit better than some of the Leprechaun movies. Granted, I haven't seen all the Leprechaun movies, but even that first Leprechaun is like, it's endearing. I like it. It's not good, objectively speaking. So yeah, no, I like it. I liked the first three. Those first three, I feel like I could say I really enjoyed all of them. After that, some of them are dumb fun. But yeah, I haven't watched it in a while, but yes, I've seen it.
Yeah, like Christian knows the details about these, I'm sure. Me, not so much. Like, to be honest, this is the one that I just really remember the most because it was the one I watched the most. And it always had a different feel to me than the other ones. And that, like, you know, a lot of them take place in like Nazi Germany or whatever. Like this one kind of takes place, it seems like, in more current time. Now, Christian, being a big fan that you are, if I'm a big fan of Puppet Master 2 and just the tone, what would be the other one that I should check out? Because after part 3, to me, again, they become very blurry. I know there was like a retro, and I don't know if that was any good. The only other one I remember is Demonic Toys versus Puppet Master. Like that's it. And then the Littlest Reich, which I thought Littlest Reich was actually pretty good. It was pretty heavy on the gore and stuff like that. I thought they did a pretty good job with this new one.
This is the Puppet Master movie that Charlie Band does not want you to see. And if you have this, Garrett, hold on to it.
I got that. Oh yeah.
So I'll say this.
Corey Feldman,
I am a Puppet Master connoisseur. So I still think that the first one is the best one. I love the first one. I think 2 is the darkest one, and I think that's why a lot of people love that one too. I love the homage to, obviously, the Invisible Man with Toulon and the bandages and stuff, and the accent, and the beautiful, beautiful stop motion. You remember when Toulon goes back to his lair and he opens up the trunk and he says he's basically currying all of his puppets, and the stop motion shots. Oh, it's beautiful. I think 4 and 5 are great. I think that they lighten up the tone and they expand the story, but Charlie gets a little ahead of himself sometimes, because this is the way Charlie Band works. Movie title, get the money, start filming, kind of write the script as we're going along. That's the world of low budget filmmaking. But then again, some of the 4 and 5 are great, but I think the first 3 are certainly legendary home video rental horror films. The newer stuff, the Axis Rising, the Terminator, Puppet Master Axis Rising, Puppet Master Axis of Evil, they get a little muddy. They're not bad, but it doesn't feel like the classic. Puppet Master needs to be shot on 35mm film. It's got to be stop motion. It's got to be that way. The way Charlie Band films stuff now is just not the same. He uses these cheap ass weird digital cameras. They just don't look right. The puppets look great. The puppets, they're obviously real puppets. Charlie doesn't do CGI puppets. Right. But honestly, I hate to say it, I think if you stick with the first 5, you could actually, Retro Puppet Master is not too bad. It's really not that bad. I would definitely check out Retro Puppet Master, because I think that was either the very first one or the very last one without the help of Paramount. That one's not bad. That's late 90s, 98. I would go from 1 to 1 to Curse of the Puppet Master. Curse of the Puppet Master. Retro Puppet Master's right before that. Go to 1 through Curse. Definitely see all those, because those are still classic Puppet Master films. Then watch Puppet Master Littlest Reich, because it had no business being that good. Puppet Master Littlest Reich is as good as 1, 2, or 3, and it's really, really great. Such good. It's from the producers of Bone Tomahawk, which they also just redid Subspecies, and they did no, they didn't. They redid Castle Freak, which was the very first full moon movie Charlie did without Paramount, and Castle Freak was excellent. That's on Shudder.
I just watched Castle Freak, the original one, the other night. I think it might have been like a Joe Bob special, because I'm trying to catch up on all those.
It's lovely. I love.
I do have Castle Freak, the new one, the remake, but I haven't even opened it yet. So it's been sitting on this like to watch list over here. So I haven't checked it out. I might not even own all these, because the only set I have besides that like gray trunk with a couple Blu-rays in it, I have Littlest Reich, but I have that first DVD set that was like, it was kind of really, really sought after for a while. So I'm not sure how far that goes. It's a lot of them in there, but it might not even have retro in there. I'm not sure exactly Maybe it does. I don't know. There's probably like 10 movies or something there, but I don't think it's all of them. Do you know
Maybe
which
not.
set I would be talking
Maybe not.
about?
Charlie would put those sets out so consistently throughout
Yeah.
the years. Charlie was the king of not only releasing sets whenever a new one came out, but also releasing them without license to do it. Like when Paramount still had the rights to the movies, Charlie was doing box sets and he had to pull them. I have that set too.
I think that's the one I have because I remember whatever one I have is the one that was really sought after for a while. So I'm not sure if I even have retro in there. I'm not sure.
It might be in there. I'm not sure though. I don't
I'll
want to
check
spend
it
too
out.
much time looking for it, but a lot of his shit's on Tubi too. If you just like, hey, I just want to be able to see this for now. So, but great pick, Puppet Master 3. If it's been a while since you revisited that one, Garrett, that's one of the best prequels. It really is that damn good. I mean, and Charlie goes for it. Charlie, dude, it was kind of taboo still doing Nazi shit in the 90s. Like, and Charlie does this movie full in the total lore of Nazi Germany. I mean, Charlie is a renegade. He's one of the greatest ever. Puppet Master 3 is fantastic. I love it. I think it's the fan favorite overall, quite frankly. I talk to more people that say it's Puppet Master 3 for me because it has one of the best chest bursting scenes ever. Rivals Alien. It's that good. Well, maybe not rivals Alien, but it's damn good. It's damn good. So if it's been a while, please revisit Toulon's Revenge. It's great.
Definitely.
Great pick. Great pick.
Thanks.
All right, Nicholas.
All right. So
Here we go.
Whatever. The next one is a movie that is pretty recent, but doesn't feel like it. Feels like it would have fit for 30 plus years ago.
Can I guess?
Yeah.
Go ahead. Finish your intro.
I feel like it's better than the first one.
Bullshit.
It's not as groundbreaking as the first one.
I think I know what he's going to say, too.
I know what he's going to say. Just let me say it.
Is it this? Is it
Strangers Pray at Night.
Yep.
I knew I wasn't thinking that. I was thinking something else.
Yeah.
Bullshit.
It's The Strangers Pray at Night. And let me just tell you this, okay?
Bullshit.
Guess what, Christian? It's all about taste, my man. And
no, I'm kidding. Totally
this
kidding.
one to the
They're dead even.
I know you like this one, but I'm just
dead
surprised.
even to me. Dead even to me.
I'm gonna say what I said earlier. They're both really good, but in different ways. I think it's the same. Same goes for these two. I think they're both great, but they're different.
I literally didn't put this on my list because again, Sydney was like, "Christian, why don't you put Strangers Pray at Night?" I said, "Nick's got that." How do you know? I know. I know he's got it on his list.
I mean, it's no surprise. Look, the thing about The Strangers Pray at Night for me is that obviously it is a love letter to 80s slasher movies, and I feel like it nails that. It doesn't spend too much time trying to get to know a bunch of people that you're not supposed to care that much about, but even then, the little bit you do get to know about them, you love them. The soundtrack is fantastic. I'll never ever hear Total Eclipse of the Heart the same way again. Never in my life. I'll never hear it the same way. I think that it raised the stakes surprisingly to me. Like, and it actually shocked me that all the strangers died. I was like, what? Like, I did not see that coming. You could have really built a franchise out of this and like, nah, we're going to kill all these fuckers in this movie. And honestly, I was cool with it because as much as I would have liked another Strangers movie, I didn't want to see this just done over and over again where the strangers win. And that's what I think these two movies side by side work together so well, because the first one is a home invasion, very claustrophobic movie where at the end of the day, they win. The bad guys win, and it's a very somber ending. And then the second one is more open space, but still isolated to the trailer park. But it goes for a totally different tone, and they all die. So it's like when you, at the end of the first one, I don't know how you guys felt. I watched it and I thought it was so effective, but I was like, it kind of left me feeling a little hollow. Like none of them died. Not one of them died. Like, come on. Like, these people were terrible human beings and they just walked away from this to go do this to other people. So I loved seeing them get picked off one by one. And like, dude, again, I didn't think that the line from the first movie where it's like, why are you doing this to us? Because you were home. I didn't think anything could rival that. And then in the second one, when Bailey Madison's character asks it to Dollface and she says, why not? And she starts smiling. She's like bleeding out of her mouth. And I'm like, these sick motherfuckers. I love it. I love it. I don't know. I love it. I saw this movie 4 times in theaters, and it was filmed.
Jesus Christ.
It was filmed. It was filmed where I was from, Cincinnati, Northern Kentucky. I remember, and I didn't know that. And I'm sitting in the theater with my buddy Dave, and I'm like, that's downtown Cincinnati. Like, that's literally the Bengals stadium right there. And he's like,
The Bengals.
Yeah, fuck them. But and he's like, is it? And I'm in the theater and I Google it, and it's like, yeah, it was filmed in the Northern Kentucky, Cincinnati area. I was like, no shit. So I got to make my way up. There's only a half hour or so away. I got to go there and see the filming locations of that. But yeah, I love this movie. I love it.
Yeah, I was just giving you a hard time. It's the real deal. I didn't see it in theaters. Quite frankly, I have no memory of it ever being announced, or I just remember seeing it on the shelf. Like, I don't remember shit from this movie. And then I was like, oh, they made a second one? Cool. And I loved it. It was certainly its own thing. That's the best way to do a sequel. But then again, the last time that happened was Jeepers Creepers 3, and that didn't live up to everybody's hopes. And then, but this movie was like, hey, it's like a decade later, let's make another one. And I liked it. I liked it.
And you could not replicate what you did with the first one. So the idea that they had, let's do it something completely tonally different, was perfect, because I didn't want to see that redone. I did not want to see the first one redone. So I love the idea they had with this one.
Yeah, I agree with you guys as well. I think that the fact that they did it different was kind of what they needed to do. The first one to me is still very effective. Like I was saying earlier with Paranormal Activity, there's not many movies that make you feel a certain way, and I think Nick hit it on the head with the fact that it's like these people just did this to all these people and got away with it without even like being, anything happening to them. It does make you feel a little bit uneasy at the end of it, and because you're just not used to that. And I think the one thing that I remember, because I did see The Strangers in theater, Pray at Night, I didn't. And like Christian said, I don't even remember it being hyped for a theatrical release at all, considering how well I felt the first one did at the time. And the one scene from the first one that still is just one of those things that are stuck in my head, the same way that certain movies are just ingrained in my skull, like when the what's her name there came out of the TV in The Ring, is something I'll never forget. Seeing that in the theater for the first time. Yeah, that I can like that thing like still sends tingles up and down my back when I see it happen, even though it's like at this point you're kind of like, you already know it's coming, but it was a super effective at the time. And sadly and crazy enough, the damn scene in Signs with the alien walks across the screen still gets me.
Dude.
Like,
yeah, still.
And it's like, wait, this movie's not even supposed to be that scary, but for whatever reason, when the kid's like, he's behind at the birthday party, and I was in the theater and I legit was like, because I'm thinking in my head, like, if this shit was to happen, this is exactly how it's going to go down.
Oh,
like, it's going to be walking around, like, not know what the hell's going on. Like, I just felt like it felt so real at that scene that still gets to me. Same thing like the end of Blair Witch. Like, it still gets to me, like, every single time. And that was another one I was lucky enough to see, the first weekend in theaters. And Strangers, that one scene where he's in the house and he's just standing there watching her in the kitchen and like,
and it's dead silent.
Yeah. And that's where I think it works. God. I think it works because like, you never get that. And I feel like that's something more horror movies need to do, is to have those type of scenes instead of like the loud music when something's about to happen. Like the dead silence of him just standing there, you're sitting there and you're like, holy shit. Like, this is like real deal. This is real. This is like what really would happen if someone was in your house. And that to me always stuck with me. And I just thought it was a very effective, yet they didn't have to do jack shit to make it effective, right?
Brilliant. It's like, dude, they make these fucking movies like TikTok videos now. Everything's got to move like a fucking lightning bolt. Nothing breathes, man. It's just that's Strangers is so goddamn good that I remember seeing that in theaters and just having a blast. I was scared shitless at The Strangers, man. That movie was so freaking awesome. And but at the same time, I love how Strangers 2 just it feeds my horror fandom needs and wants. I need to be entertained. I want good music. I want good setups, and that Strangers 2 does that. And I like the characters in Strangers too. I like them. I like that girl. She's kind of like a rebel punk, and she's.
I do too. Yeah, I do too. That's what I'm saying is that like in that type of movie, you're not really going for character development, and surprisingly, you still like the cast. Like you actually still like them, and this is the one with the Matthew McConaughey lookalike. from
I was
X,
just gonna say that,
Martin
yeah.
Henderson. Yeah. So, but one thing about The Strangers Pray at Night, and I need to wrap it up with this one, but I just want to say it's not like the first one in the sense of there's these, elongated suspense sequences with playing with the sound design and stuff. They do play with the sound design a lot, but in a different way in this movie with the 80s soundtrack. But they are still scary in this movie and intimidating because of how little care they have for human life. And the thing that I really think of is in the van with the dad when Sackhead is literally just taking his time. He's just turning up the radio, scanning the stations, and then slowly just kind of drives the ice pick up through his neck and just kind of looks at him like, whatever, just in a day's work. And it's
right.
That type of attitude is just so holy shit, how can you not care that? How can you have such little care for human life? So yeah, love it.
That's something I never want a prequel to. I have no desire to learn about those people. Then they're not the strangers if you learn about it, you know what I mean?
Right.
All right. So
my
next sequel, guys, is probably Jim Cameron's greatest movie. Does anybody want to take a guess?
I mean,
Jim Cameron's greatest sequel. Nobody talks about it.
Okay, then.
Nobody talks about it.
It's a sequel Jim Cameron directed. Nobody talks about it. It's his greatest movie.
Are you messing with what is it?
It's very obvious. Do you guys not know? It's not. There's no
the
way
fact that you said no one ever talks about it.
Yeah, you said no one talks about it.
That's what's making me think that.
It's obvious, right?
Say it.
Jim Cameron's greatest movie he ever performed, his directorial debut, as it were, Piranha 2, The Spawning.
Oh my God. You were messing with us because it's his movie, but you know damn well what happened behind the scenes there.
Dude, it's a great
I don't know what
movie.
happened behind the scenes, so let me know.
I'm not even kidding. Piranha 2, The Spawning is a fucking dude, Piranha 2, hold on. So Roger Corman produced and had Joe Dante direct Piranha, which is a great little low budget Jaws ripoff. Piranha 2, The Spawning is fucking awesome. So Jim Cameron was doing second unit help on a Roger Corman movie. It was either Galaxy of Terror or it was one of his other Roger Corman. I think it was actually Galaxy of Terror. And he was helping with a gag scene that they had to do with worms in it. And Jim Cameron did something to help it and got it done quick. And the producers were like, "Hey, you're pretty talented." So then they said, "You're gonna direct Piranha 2, The Spawning." And he got fired, and he's never really discussed why he got fired. I think the speculation was he wasn't moving fast enough or whatever. But Piranha 2, The Spawning is fucking awesome. It's literally about fly. I got it right here. It's literally about flying piranha, but it's got the tone of Jaws. It's got a great cast. It's got Lance Henriksen, and it's got Trisha O'Neill, Steve Marichuk. It's great. It's really fucking good. And people that make fun of it haven't fucking seen it. It's not a bad movie at all. It's actually really fucking good. I love Piranha 2, The Spawning.
It is, but Garrett, what I meant by that was that's why I meant James Cameron, technically, but he got fired before the film was finished. So part of it is James Cameron's and part of it isn't, but and he doesn't necessarily associate himself with it, but others do because they know that was his creation, at least from its inception, but it didn't end up being entirely what was going to be his movie. So yes, Christian was definitely toying with us there.
I love Piranha 2. Dude, Piranha 2 is in my top 5 James Cameron movies. Garrett, you have to see Piranha 2. Have you seen Piranha 2? I've
seen Piranha 2. I
I
have it on DVD, but I did not buy that Scream Factory one. That's one I must have missed.
It's got a 2K scan of the negative.
You know what though? I mean, after talking right now, I probably because the DVD quality's shit. So it might be one I need to upgrade now. Yeah,
dude, look at that art. Look at that artwork.
All right, my friend Tom loves that one as well. He's always hyping that one up. And again, I have to be honest. I've seen it, but it's probably been over 10 years.
Like, it's a movie. It's a legitimate movie. I had no idea what to expect because I love Piranha. Dude, it's the stories there. There's a lot of conflict with the people. Anything with Lance Henriksen is at least 2.5 out of 5 stars. Can we agree on that?
Yes. And this is a
right, because I love Lance Henriksen.
I don't want to pose.
People have to see this movie. I fucking love Piranha 2.
And I want to say to you really quick, Christian, this is more rhetorical because I don't want to get into this debate, but I would argue that there isn't a bad Piranha film. I think all of them do.
Like 3D and all.
I think
yeah,
3DD and 3D are hilarious and super fun. So
I love them.
Yeah.
It's a great franchise.
I think 3D is one of the better remakes out there. No doubt. I loved 3D a lot, and I still do. And it's one that I can go back to and watch on a regular basis and have a ball with it. I mean, I think they did everything right in that movie. Double D is a little bit, out there, but
it's so fine. Dumb. But I mean, so fun.
I just think 3D is one that more people need to talk about in a positive way because it was. I remember my experience in the theater. I was like blown away. I thought it was amazing.
It is fantastic.
Well done. I felt like the way that they did the fish were great. I can actually remember after I saw it, I was so hyped up. I was on eBay trying to see if I could find like one of those fish, like a prop or something, like maybe somebody had one, but I never was able to find one.
Who the fuck doesn't like Ving Rhames taking the fucking boat motor and fucking chopping up Piranha? That shit's awesome. That movie's fucking awesome.
The gore was great in that one too. Like when them trying to get off the beach and the skeleton legs and stuff like that. It was cool, man.
Yeah.
All right, cool. Garrett, you have the unfortunate task of trying to follow up Piranha 2 this morning.
Well, I mean, again, everything I've got left are all like kind of pretty much fan favorites, more or less. This one here, I'll just throw out now. It's probably the best sequel I have on this whole list. The first one's a masterpiece, and everybody knows it. This movie had no right to be as good as it was. And I rival to say, besides being, a classic in the eyes of just in movie history, I can say that this one to me is just as good, and that is Psycho 2.
Ooh.
I absolutely love this movie. I think it works on all levels. It's a fun tone, and I feel like it connects so well to something that came out so far ahead. And I just think it everything about it, I love it.
It's the real deal.
Yeah, I won't. There, you'll get no argument from me there. I had it written down on my list and crossed it off, and I have proof of it, and I can show you on my list. I almost kept it on there, and it wasn't because I didn't like it. It was because I was like, I wonder if this will be. I don't know. I guess I was overthinking this list way too much. But yes, yeah.
I mean, I'll tell you right. Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say I like everybody's list. Everybody's got their style going on right now. I mean, I like it. I'm obviously bringing A game.
I'm gonna throw you for a loop with this next one. I don't think you're gonna expect it from me.
What I want to do is this, because I know, Garrett, you have to get ready for your Vinegar Syndrome show after this and stuff. Go ahead and finish your list.
All right, finish my list now. I actually brought more than 10 because I'm more than 7 because I was like, you know what, if they have all these, I'll just switch it. But I can ride through it really quick and let me know what you guys think. This one's a given. Everybody loves it. Creepshow 2.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
To me, it's right on par with the original. I do like the original better, but I mean, I think that's right on par with it. Another one, Sleepaway Camp 2.
Bastard! You bastard!
Oh, is that on your list?
Dude, Pam Springsteen is like my dream woman. She's still beautiful. I wish she would get over herself and just talk. I
agree. I wish we could, she could be out there and people can get some stuff signed and all this other stuff. I definitely wish that too, because I think this was such a cool, like, again, it's different, right? It's different than the original one, but it works the same way.
Dude, that's some of the best shit from the 80s period. Like, that is, when you think about 80s popcorn fun movies, you know what, you bastard? You've got the slipcover for that movie too, don't you?
Of course,
you
man.
Rat son of a bitch. You know how much that thing is worth now?
I know, it's one of those things too, and I'm like, you know what? Like, dude, listen, these are coming back out. There's no question in my mind. So I would say if you don't have it by now, don't spend the money. You'll get it. You'll get something.
I have.
And again, DVD. I mean, like, how iconic is this image here? This is the iconic image of when I was a kid. Like,
I've got the slip for. When I bought, I have the movies, right? I got 1, 2, and 3. I bought them all at FYE. 3 came with the slip cover. 3 came with its slipcover, so I've got the slipcover for 3. But I love, honestly, Garrett, like as the time has gone on, part 1 has become my favorite. After I got a really big TV in my horror room and I was revisiting these films, I seeing 1 blown up in beautiful HD. I love 1. It's like literally a upside down slasher film. It's all sexy guys and they're all, showing their legs and shit. And it's just so hilarious to me. Like they're all dressed like crop shirts and stuff. It's so opposite.
Talk about another movie that ending still sticks with me to this. Like I can remember the first time I saw that, I was in legit like shock and being like, "What the hell am I watching?"
I didn't see that movie until a year ago, and the first time, the ending, it had never been spoiled for me, and I genuinely was like, "What the fuck?"
So I'll subtract that off my list because Sleepaway Camp 2 was literally my number 1 as the greatest horror sequel ever made.
Oh, all right. I'll run through really quick. Phantasm 2. I'm a huge Phantasm fan. It's one of my favorite movies, the original one. I thought this was a great follow-up, even though, I think the kid did a good job. But like I said before,
you like Michael.
I like original characters. You know what I mean? I think this kid did great, but I think the fact that Michael Baldwin came back like later and stuff, it kind of sticks out like a sore thumb in a way, I think. But I think it's a great sequel.
That's my favorite one, Phantasm 2. It's my all-time favorite Phantasm.
Is it one?
Oh yeah.
I know you guys are gonna like this one because I think you guys just did a show on it or something. Devil's Rejects is the next one.
Trash.
On the list.
Yeah, but Christian and I prefer House of a Thousand Corpses. We both.
I do. I prefer House of a Thousand. You know what? I like Devil's Rejects more, but at the time, but now I've changed my tune. Like when I first saw Devil's Rejects in the theater, I was like, oh, that was way better than House. And now I would much rather. I prefer House way more than Rejects now.
It's more cinematic, It's more like a Hollywood movie, so it's easier to digest, I think. But yeah, now going back on it, I'm the same way. It's the nostalgia. It's the crazy music video that House of a Thousand Corpses is that just draws me in.
Yeah, but Garrett, I tell you, dude, you're obviously aware of like the history of VHS and VHS tapes and the companies back in the day. Tell me you can't picture a beautiful, because of the way Devil's Rejects is shot, 16 mil, all that. Close your eyes and imagine a beautiful Wizard Video big box for the Devil. Doesn't it make sense? Like it would have worked. I think that because that movie, I just reviewed it because I revisited it. I was like, I want to talk about this one. I do think it is his swan song in a sense. Like Rob's really great, even though it's not my favorite. I can respect the fact that it's the fan favorite for a reason. It just,
but I think it's the best. I think that's his best done movie as a whole. I just, for some reason, that maybe it is like you said about with corpses. It's cinematic. Like I remember when I saw Corpses, it was it's tough for me to know how old you guys when that came out. I saw it in the theater, House of a Thousand Corpses. I can remember it like it was yesterday. There was so much hype behind that movie when it came out. Like I felt like I was going to see something that I was not supposed to. It was just so hyped. Then it was like, oh, it was so cut, and I don't even know how true that is. And is there more footage that we don't know? I have no idea, but there was just so much lore behind that movie at the time. Right. And I can remember when I saw it, I was blown away by it, but there were certain things that it was just, to me at the time, like, and again, I could go and say the same thing about a lot of movies that I watch now. I may respect them more later down the road, but I wasn't sure what I thought of House when I originally saw it, because I feel like Rob Zombie, and I'll go out and say it, like, I don't mind Rob Zombie at all. Like, I don't hate Rob Zombie. I like more or less most of his stuff anyways. But I feel like Rob has a tough time ending movies, in my opinion. Like he really, and that's what I always felt about this one. Like, you thought it was over, and then all of a sudden they're going underground and stuff. And I'm like, and at the time I was like, what the hell is going on here? Like, how did this happen?
But
now it's fucking awesome though.
Devil's Rejects.
Now I look at it and I'm kind of like, all right, that's it's kind of cool. But at the time I was like, what the hell is happening?
It's crazy.
Because I was thinking it's weird. It's like, it's just wacky. Like, I'm like, how did he decide to do this?
Dude, they sent that broad straight to fucking hell.
Yeah.
They sent it to hell.
It's funny that you mentioned that. He does have a problem ending movies. I think his only 2 movies that end pretty strong are Devil's Rejects and Halloween 2. I think those are the only 2 that have like pretty strong endings. I think that his remake of Halloween drags on. That entire final chase with Laurie takes way too long. Lords of Salem. When Christian and I talked about this, I really enjoyed that movie, but that ending is a clusterfuck. It is a clusterfuck.
I don't even understand it, to be honest. I saw that in the theater too, and
that's
I
what I love
being
about
like,
it.
I'll be like
fucking
like,
Twin
wait,
Peaks.
Like, is there more to this? Like, where's the like where's the closure?
Maybe.
Where's this? Like, what happened? What the hell went on?
Yeah,
it's psychedelic.
You know,
I
thought maybe like they were on like an intermission or something at the theater.
Yeah.
I'm like, wait, it's over? Like, what?
I love the ending to House of Thousand Corpses. I fucking love it. It's not over. If they never made another one, that's the perfect thing to me. I love it when like you're done.
Oh, the fucking creatures underground and shit are awesome. Dr. Satan and his fucking henchmen, like that shit's awesome. It's weird.
It is, but it didn't like at the time. It to me, I was like, "What the fuck is going?" Because it was just such a different. It was like a whole new movie, basically just started. You know,
dude, that ending is dude. Dr. Satan is one of the nastiest, creepiest things I've ever seen. Like, because it's such a beautiful thing, especially as a kid, because he was an instant folk tale in my mind when they tell you the story in the murder ride. So when you get to see Dr. Satan, holy shit, dude. Have you seen the deleted scenes of Dr. Satan and Devil's Rejects?
Yeah.
It's bizarre.
I don't know.
He's in a hospital bed, and he like Rosario Dawson is the nurse, and she's like tending to him, and he like rips her fucking throat out, and she's bleeding out everywhere. Like, but Rob cut it out. Rob cut it out of the movie because he thought that including Dr. Satan and Devil's Rejects would take away from the realistic approach he was going with that movie.
Right.
And he was right, but as fans of House, I was like, where the fuck is Dr. Satan? We got 2 sequels to it, and you didn't show us shit with Dr. Satan. Not much.
I mean, I know it's probably too late now, but do you think a Dr. Satan movie would work?
Why the fuck wasn't he in 3 from Hell? Why the fuck was Dr. Satan not in 3? Honestly, I like 3 from Hell, but let's be honest. Let's fucking be honest. Total missed opportunity. Why the fuck are we not going back to the house? What happens? Well, I say go back to the house. They can't go back to the house. But who the fuck? Nobody found that lair down there. Why the? Because if they cut Dr. Satan out of Devil's Rejects, he's still out there. He's still doing his thing. Why don't they go down there? They got all that world down there was so crazy. I don't know. I just think that I think that Hell 3 from Hell could have been. There could have been totally different ways. That could have been a great court movie. That could have been a great movie of them breaking out of prison. What if the whole movie was just them getting Sherry Moon out of prison? I might have even liked it more. I like 3 from Hell, but I mean, come on. When I look back on it, there are so many different ways they could have done that movie that I would have liked better. I mean, really, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I only watched 3 from Hell once. I didn't care for it, so I never went back and watched it again. But so again, I only know it so much because I've only watched it that one time. But yeah, like Thousand Corpses, and I've talked about this before with the guys in Deadpit, and they even agree. House of a Thousand Corpses is probably one of the best looking Blu-rays ever. And that was like on the earliest stages of Blu-ray was those movies came out. And that thing looks so unbelievable. Like that first scene with like Spaulding and stuff, like I can't get over how good that looks. And I'm like, man, this thing is going to kick so much ass if someone could put this thing out in 4K, because this, I don't know what they did or how they did it, but it looks so good on Blu-ray, especially that first scene, like in the little shop or whatever. It was just, it's unreal. So I'm hoping this thing gets a new edition for sure. Someone's going to do it.
I know it. All right, Nick, are you done with your list?
I mean, I have 2 more. I got more than 7. Maniac Cop 2 and Fright Night 2.
Dude, Maniac Cop 2 is, tell me the best thing about Maniac Cop 2 is
the music at the strip club.
That song.
That song is so
that fucking song is amazing. I'd run to that when I go jogging after this. Like, I swear to God, I listen to that song because that's that guy, whoever's singing that thing, he has the greatest voice I've ever heard in my life. And the Maniac Cop rap is a jam. It's on Spotify too. The Maniac Cop 2 rap is on Spotify.
What? Okay, so I know the song. I love that song, like that 80s like song with that guy singing. What is it? Do I just type in Maniac Cop 2 on YouTube and I can find that tune?
Yeah, Maniac Cop 2. I think it's Buddy Miles. Dude, that song is so emotional. It's so fucking
I love it.
Good.
It's so good. I love all that kind of stuff in movies. And it was just kind of, to me, it felt so misplaced in this that it makes me like it even more. Like, it actually makes me like the movie even more because of it.
Type in Maniac Cop 2, Buddy Miles, first song. Well, it's an ad, but yeah, dude, and it's so good. I gotta get my friend Tabata. I gotta get Brandon Tabata to remaster the song.
Dude, I've already
He'll
sent
make
him a
it
couple
killer.
things to do.
Good. Keep that.
I did. I'm
motherfucker
like, hey
busy.
man, you think you can try to do this? And he's like, ooh, that might be cool because there's a real good song from a movie Night Visitor that I like, and there's no good versions of it online. I'm like, dude, you think you can try to tackle this? Because
Shit.
it's killer. But yeah, Maniac Cop 2 and Fright Night 2 are my last two. Both sequels I really enjoy. I think Maniac Cop 2. I don't know. I mean, I think I like this one better than the first one.
Without question. It's just money. It's money. Yeah. It's money. It's great shit. And Fright Night 2, what do we need to say? Everybody loves Fright. Everybody knows Fright Night 2 is fucking awesome. I mean, you know. All right, Nick, you want to wrap it up? You want to get your list out the way? Then I'll do mine last.
Yeah. So I had Fright Night 2 on mine as well. No surprise. Baby. I had these next two are my last two are interesting. One of them is from a franchise I don't really care for. I've only seen the first three, and I haven't seen anything after that, and don't plan on it because they look like shit. But I really like the Purge Anarchy. I think the Purge Anarchy with Frank Grillo is probably the best Purge movie, and I thought that idea was very novel and cool when it came out, and then it got overdone, and I just never wanted to see any of them again. And then this is a prequel again. You know, my bad. It came out later though, and that's
What's up with these prequels?
You know what?
I just wondering. This is a sequel.
The only reason. Yeah, but it's part of a franchise. It came out after the other ones. It's whatever. You watch them in succession anyway. Who gives a shit? Okay, it works. Ouija: Origin of Evil. Mike Flanagan.
Oh, it's the best.
Because Ouija, I thought sucked asshole. I mean, I saw that movie in theaters and I hated the shit out of it. And then they were like, all right, let's go with the, I don't know, kind of like Annabelle Creation. Annabelle sucked. And then they were like, let's go back to like the origin of it. And Annabelle Creation was awesome. And it's the same way with this. The origin of this was awesome. Plus, I think Mike Flanagan's just a fucking fantastic director. So I really liked it. I thought it was really good. And I intentionally left shit off my list that if we were talking about my favorite horror sequels, I'm putting Dr. Sleep in here. I'm putting
bullshit.
No, I am, and I'm putting. I mean, whatever, but I mean,
he's putting H2. He's putting.
Yeah, we could have that. We could have that discussion one day, Christian. Don't you worry. I mean,
I like Dr. Sleep. I know
you're giving me a hard time because you know that I like it more than The Shining, but that's a conversation for another day. So yeah, I mean, I don't want to. My list was just I was trying to throw out some names of movies that maybe get lost in the shuffle because they're. I had Exorcist 3 also on my list, but we had already talked about it. So I don't know. I think I had a good mixture of some 80s movies and some modern movies. So.
You did good. You did great. Everybody's list was great. I'll finish. I have two left. Obviously, Sleepaway Camp 2 is my number one. Obviously, I got to talk more about Charlie Man. So I did revisit the Subspecies 1 through 3. And I got to say, Subspecies 2, for those, and I'm sure there's going to be a lot of people that may listen to this that have still not watched some of these movies. And I get it because they're not these, they weren't theater movies. They were straight to video stuff. But you got to remember, it was Paramount producing this stuff for Charlie. He got good money for these budgets. Subspecies 2, again, Radu is one of the creepiest vampires, man. I mean, and Anders Hove is just, he is that character. It's so good. Subspecies 2 probably has the best and creepiest ending, some of the best shots. They really caught their stride. Subspecies 1 is great, and 3 is great too. 3 actually has the dude from I think it's New Blood Friday 13th Part 7, the boyfriend is in that one. But Part 2 is really, really good. I love it so much. The music is so good. I think that the Subspecies 1, 2, and 3 movies are pound for pound the best things Charlie ever produced under the Full Moon banner. I think that really is. As much as I love Puppet Master, I think Subspecies was Charlie's best foot forward to make legitimate, good horror movies that aren't like bizarro puppets and stuff. Like Subspecies is the real deal. So Subspecies 2, guys, please give that one a shot. And no, I am shocked nobody picked this one for sequels. I fucking love this movie.
Don't say it.
What?
Don't say it.
Say it.
I was gonna say I was surprised we made it this whole list and you didn't say Pet Cemetery 2.
Pet Cemetery 2 is my pick. Are you kidding me?
Oh,
are you joking, dude? Pet Cemetery 2 is fucking awesome.
How did I
Dude, it's
speak this
so
into
fucking
existence?
I mean, I think it's good, but I mean, I can't compare it. You know, in my opinion.
Wait before I give you an ass chewing.
Oh no, whatever. Kristen, you know how I feel about Pet Cemetery 2. I do not think
I
it's
don't know.
bad.
I don't know
think
your
it's
feeling.
I did a retrospective on all 3 of those movies, the Pet Cemetery movies last year, and I even said Pet Cemetery 2 isn't awful. It's not bad. It's just feel like compared to the first one, I just feel like it's like, really?
Why are you comparing it to the first one?
You have fucking dog heads on chicks,
dude.
It's like, what the fuck? Like
Eddie Furlong, man, come on.
Yeah, I mean Eddie Furlong is great.
Eddie Furlong is, dude. The thing about Pet Cemetery 2 is it revels in early 90s grunge direct-to-video. It revels in the time it's in so much when you watch it. I love it's so it. I don't always want to watch Pet Cemetery because it's too fucking deep, man. I don't feel like watching that funeral scene. It's too difficult. Pet Cemetery 2 is, I'm sorry, it's way more accessible at the ready to watch. And Christian, that has to get credit.
When you have a kid, I don't know if you'll ever watch Pet Cemetery again. Seriously.
I believe that.
Very hard. It's very hard.
Which is to my dude, that's the thing. It's like it's nowhere near the level of a kid, obviously, but I'm a dog parent. That's all I have at the time. Even the thought of that is terrifying. So I can't imagine a child. But I don't feel like watching it all the time because of that. Pet Cemetery 2, who's that guy? The cop. He's in like so many good fucking movies. His name.
He reminds me of fucking Bradford English from Halloween 6. Like, and I love. You're talking about his dad, the guy's dad, right?
His name is let's see. His name Clancy Brown. Clancy Brown.
Yeah.
Dude, the thing about Pet Cemetery 2 is I will not die on a hill saying it's better than 1. I have no desire to do that. But 9 times out of 10, if I need a Pet Cemetery fix, I'm grabbing 2. It's way more accessible to me. I have to prep myself to, like, Pet Cemetery is a movie I have to plan to watch. The Thing is a movie I have to plan to watch because I don't want to waste a viewing on The Thing. Pet Cemetery 2, it's always there to get me through the day, and the soundtrack is great. And it's fucking Mary Lambert directing again. It's so good. Pet Cemetery 2 is fucking awesome. It's so good.
I'm not gonna. I won't give you much pushback on it. I was really just giving you a hard time because you spent this whole episode giving me a hard time. So it's like he's gonna fuck. I was looking at my shelf. That's the reason I thought of it. I was looking at Pet Cemetery 2 right before I said it. It came across my eye and I said, "Wow, he hasn't said Pet Cemetery 2." And 2 weeks ago, he went to Instagram and said, "This is better than the first one." I'm like, "How did he not put this on his list?" And then you were like, "Oh, I got one more." I'm like, "Fuck."
I love it. I do love it more than the first one. I just do. I mean, Pet Cemetery is not my favorite. My favorite Stephen King movie is Children of the Corn. I love Pet Cemetery. I don't know if it's in my top 5. It may not even be. I'd have to really think about it. I like some of the ones that are kind of not necessarily lost in the shot. Like, I'm a big Firestarter fan. I love Firestarter.
Cat's Eye. I like Cat's Eye a lot.
Cat's Eye too. I love Cat's Eye. Cat's Eye.
I mean, honestly, like, I'm a big Stephen King fan. Like, there's not many Stephen King movie adaptations that I didn't like. Even ones that like don't get talked about, like Night Flyer is a cool one. I don't know why that's not.
That had the dude from RoboCop in it.
Hey, Tommy Knockers kind of sucks.
You know what? I haven't seen Tommy Knockers in a long, long time. But my dad, for whatever reason, when I was a kid, told me that was like his favorite book ever.
It's not a bad book, but dude, oh my god, yeah. I think that's one of the only ones that I walk away from like that's kind of weak. But yeah, I mean overall, yeah, okay. I hear you out. I hear.
I'm not gonna take any bullshit on this one. Okay,
no, but I mean, think about what we're talking about. We're talking about great sequels, right? So
yeah,
let's talk about sequels better than the originals. So it's a good sequel. I agree. You know, there's plenty of shit sequels out there.
That would have been
Cemetery 2 is not one of them.
Well, let's end
this controversial topic.
Let's end this episode. Better. Let's end this episode on 2 things. I want each of you guys and everybody. Everybody did a great job. Great list, everybody. That was great. Everybody take one movie from your list to be like, listen, guys, if you're gonna watch anything from my list or revisit it, it's this one. And then I do want you to say a sequel that you think is better than the original to end it off with a little bit of controversy. And I'm going to go first. No, I'm not. I'm not going to go first. Actually, yes, I'm going to go first. I'm going to go first.
I have a question really quick.
Go ahead.
Are we picking off of our list?
No, the sequel that you think is
okay.
better does not have to be off
Okay.
of your list.
Okay.
So my sequel that I want everybody to seriously watch is Jim Cameron's best film, The Piranha 2: The Spawning. It's really good. I swear to God. The sequel that is clearly better than the original is The Exorcist 3.
Okay.
No, nothing.
I'm not arguing. I'm not doing
Nothing.
Um,
Garrett, hold on.
Garrett and I
Garrett,
don't
listen to
agree.
me.
We don't agree.
Garrett, just try me. Convince me why Exorcist 3 is not better than the first Exorcist. I'm listening. Do your best.
It's just very different in tone. Like, I mean, Exorcist is just the story of Reagan, what she had to go through, and I just think it's just a very different type of movie. And I don't know, Exorcist to me just has something not many movies have. Like it's to me, Exorcist is one of those, like, it's more than a movie type things. Like,
bullshit.
I can put that in the same vein as I can put like something like Jaws. Like, these things are just so above movies that I can't ever say that it's going to be better. Like, those are certain things. But I'm going to tell you a sequel right now that I would say I think is better than the original. I'd like it better than the original. And I'm sure a lot of people are going to disagree with me because the movie is so in such high regard. I had this on my list, but I forgot to even show it. I can go out on the limb and say I like Dawn of the Dead better than I like Night of the Living Dead. So to me, Dawn of the Dead is and I know a lot more people are much more into Day at this point, but I think Dawn of the Dead to me is like a perfect zombie movie in my opinion. So I would say that would be I think it's better than the original as a whole. But I think if anybody's going to watch any of the movies I have on here, I'd probably say Psycho 2 as one of the best sequels. But yeah, like, it's hard for me because there's certain movies that I just put on such a pedestal. It's hard for me to say anything's better. And, I could even go on, I would even say on Halloween as well. Like, I don't know if I can really say,
be careful now,
better than the first one.
Be very careful.
What, the original Halloween?
Nick is nuts about Halloween.
Oh no, I mean, I know, but I mean, I don't think any of the sequels are better than the original. But I will tell you this: that I think Halloween 2, in my opinion, is almost a perfect sequel, in my opinion.
Yeah, Rob Zombie's Halloween 2.
Definitely not that one. But I always thought the original Halloween, like, to me, it always worked as one giant movie ever since I was a kid till now, and that's the one thing that still really bothers me about this whole new Halloween resurgence, is that to cut out part 2, fuck it, cut out the rest, but you can't cut out part 2. And to be honest, if you think about the story we're going through now, to get rid of the brother sister angle it wouldn't have made any difference. It actually would have made the movie seem more, more sense.
It's fucking bullshit. I mean, as a Halloween fanboy, I can just say that you could have kept 2 and ignored H2O and Resurrection, because I could really do without H2O and Resurrection. Sure. So I don't know why we had to cut 2 out. So no, I completely agree with that. But Garrett, I want to say, before I give mine, to help explain what you asked, Garrett, Christian, the reason I cannot say that Exorcist 3 is better than the original is because the one pitfall, the one mistake Exorcist 3 made was the forced connection to The Exorcist. This was not supposed to be an Exorcist movie. William Peter Blatty did not want it to be an Exorcist movie. So they had to give you that connective tissue just enough so they could put the 3 next to the name for the brand recognition. And I feel like that is the one pitfall that movie has, in my opinion, is that
I got news for both of y'all. Both of y'all. The Exorcist is not even the best movie about a woman getting possessed in a bed. Might I raise you? The Italian masterpiece Beyond the Door. Now, let me say, what is the grossest thing from The Exorcist?
The crucifix scene.
Oh yeah.
I take your crucifix scene and I raise you in Beyond the Door. The kid driving in a convertible, drinking Campbell's soup from a straw right out of the can. is the grossest thing I've ever seen.
What the fuck?
You need to see this movie to believe it. Beyond the Door is way better than The Exorcist.
Well,
no, it's not. I'm kidding.
I think that's another.
Okay,
that's another versus stream.
I'm just being a mother. I am a motherfucker tonight.
He's giving us a hard time, especially me. But that's par for the course. So I can take it, Christian. If there's one on my list, I want people to watch. And this might sound redundant because I have talked about this a lot, but it did kind of fly under the radar. I mean, Christian's a diehard horror guy, and it kind of flew under his radar.
Mm-hmm.
It's The Strangers Pray at Night. It really is. I mean, I just feel like if you're a fan of 80s slasher movies, like I know a lot of you listening and watching are, it's going to give you everything that you loved about those movies, aside from boobies. It doesn't give you any boobies. And I'm, disappointed in that because they had Christina Hendricks. So, and I have a massive crush on her. But regardless, it gives you everything you love from 80s slasher movies. And I just feel like it is so well done. So if that's a movie that's a movie I want you guys to watch, that's on my list. And a sequel that I think is better than the original, that I'm always going to die on this hill. And the creator said it himself. So you know what? That's as close to the source as you can get. It's Dr. Sleep. Sorry. Sorry. Christian's storming off. You can't do it. You can't take it. Look at that.
So it's just us then.
Yeah.
Wow. Actually, you know what? I'm shocked. Look at the poster he's got over there, man. Full Moon High, dude. Sick.
So yeah, I wasn't trying to ruffle Christian's feathers. I have said this before, so this isn't news to him. He knows I feel that way.
This is bullshit.
Yeah, that's well, yeah, you know how many people would feel that way about you saying Exorcist 3 is better than The Exorcist?
I don't give a rat's ass what these people think
exactly.
about me.
I don't give a rat's ass either.
He said Hannibal was better than Silence of the Lambs.
Oh God, no.
I didn't. I didn't say that.
No.
I said I like Manhunter more than I like Manhunter.
But
no,
believe
Nick,
it or not, that is a
Go.
I just wanted to say that's just a trope that people fall into so much that sequels can't be better than the original. Bullshit. Absolute bullshit. There are dozens, if not hundreds, of sequels that improve upon their predecessor.
Hold on, Nick. All right, I need to do this because I'm going to clip this. I need you to look into the camera and say, "My name is Nick Eberly, and I think that
No. My name is Nick from the Lost River Drive-In, and I've probably ruffled some feathers this evening with this comment I just made, but let me just double down. According to Stephen King himself, I'm going to just reiterate what he had to say. Dr. Sleep is superior to The Shining. You don't like it? That's okay. It hurts your delicate sensibilities? I apologize. It's also just my opinion, but Dr. Sleep is better than The Shining. I'm sorry.
Okay, here's what I want you guys to do. So I don't know when this thing is coming out. Sunday, right? This is coming out Sunday.
Do you have something to say, Garrett?
Yeah, I want you to take that clip of him saying Dr. Sleep is better than The Shining. I want
put
you
on
to
Instagram.
No. But what I think you should do is I think you should have like the opening to the show, and then have just that clip, and then that's going to really get people to want to watch this and be like, what the hell happened? You know what I mean? And then that's the feeder to the show.
Yeah, but Garrett, you gotta understand, I'm about to get so much shit in the comments. About to get so much shit in the comments, and Christian will just...
But dude, listen, at this point, like I said, it should just be your gimmick, man. And
they know this about me.
You were also the one that was praising Elm Street remake. So I mean, hey, I did not
fucking praise that movie. I said it wasn't as bad as people say. I did not praise it.
Listen though, so what I am gonna do though is when I saw that in the theater, I got like a 11x17 mini poster, Elm Street, and word is that Jackie Earl Haley just signed on to Rhode Island Comic Con, so I'm getting my Elm Street remake poster signed. How cool would that be? That'd be cool, right? I just think it'd be very. I just think it'd be very unique. I'm not a fan of the movie at all, but I think it would be a very unique piece to have. You know,
Jackie got unfair hate, so nothing against Jackie. He did fine, and even Christian, somebody that is not a fan of that remake, has said Jackie did fine. Like all the issues with that remake, not Jackie or Haley. Take that
You know what though? In my opinion, I you guys might have talked about this before we sign off, but man, I just don't see. It's hard for me to see Freddy as someone else, and it's always going to be. And I just don't. I just don't think it could happen. I just really don't. I don't. Even with the best
that's why we
script,
haven't got a movie.
I don't think you can, man. And it sucks to say that, but I think it's over unless they do one more with him, and that's it. And maybe they kind of try to make it in a way where like not passes the torch, but I mean, I don't know. Like, I just don't think I can. It's believable to me if anybody else does that role. And yeah, Jackie was fine, but it just didn't feel right. Even though the movie itself sucked, but even that, like he didn't do bad, but it just didn't feel right, in my opinion.
I don't want to sound doom and gloom, but to what you just said, I think there one of two things is going to happen. They're either one, going to bring Robert back for a Halloween 2018 type thing, or two, we're not getting another Nightmare movie till Robert dies. Because I feel like it's New Line is just struggling way too much with the idea of making a Nightmare movie without Robert, seeing how the one they did without Robert was received. So I feel like it's almost sacrilege to them, to where it's basically like we either do this and reboot it like Halloween did, you soft reboot, but continue the original story, bring the original actors back, or we just wait until he passes away and it doesn't seem as sacrilegious anymore. And I'm not trying to be doom and gloom, but I just feel like it's one of those two and nothing else is possible. I mean,
to be honest, like, and I would be fine with no more. I love Elm Streets, and I think that they're, I think they could probably swing one more, and I think Robert could do fine. And even if they wanted to bring, I mean, I don't know if they would, but like, even if they want to do something with Nancy and all that shit, I mean, they could still kind of make it work. I'm thinking that Robert still has it in him. I saw him on that show. I thought he looked and sounded great. But I mean, I just don't think that they're, I don't know.
He backtracked on his comments and he said he would come back for one more movie. He did say that. He has backtracked on that. So Christian, yeah, we'll give you the floor. This is your franchise, but I will just say this. I would take a Nightmare movie before a Friday movie any day of the week.
I don't know, dude. I try not to think about it anymore, quite frankly. You got to remember, too, Nightmare's about to have its 30th anniversary, and Wes wrote the movie, so I think his family's probably going to try to, when the thing of like that law about after 30 years, the screenwriter can get the rights and ownership back to his script. So it could be an extremely long time before they make a movie with that happening. So I wouldn't expect one to happen I wouldn't expect one to happen for a very long time. That's my guess. But what do I know? But I don't know, dude. I wouldn't mind it. I think if they did one with a new guy, it'd have to be like a Bill Skarsgård, somebody I don't know. But if they made one with Robert, I mean, use Bill Skarsgård for God's sakes. I'd probably do a good job. But honestly, dude, like if I never get another one, I'm fine. I have so many lovely movies I can revisit at a whim, and I get so much from all those. There's no movie like when you say Nightmare 4 to me, a million things are running through my head. It's not just the movie, it's the artwork, it's the soundtrack, it's songs from the soundtrack, it's the Fat Boys, it's Go West. I mean, no new movie is going to be able to give that to me regardless. So it's just one of those things that, like, I don't know, man. If they make another one day, cool. If not, I have a beautiful franchise that I can revisit all the time, and it's not going anywhere.
And
so
I understand why you say that, and I really do. I really do, and I respect it. And I would just say this, that I feel like it's going to happen, I think, sooner than you think. And I think the reason for that is because of Scream. That's another classic franchise he created that was a cash cow that they made a new movie. I mean, someone ponied up enough money, Spyglass Entertainment, to get the rights from the estate and, make a new movie, and it did well. I just feel like if Jason and Freddy do not come back right now, I don't know if they're ever going to be viable again. We're in a slasher resurgence. We're in an old school resurgence. And if you miss this boat and come back too late and they're duds, you may never see them again. So I think now is the time to strike. If there was ever a time to strike. But I mean, that's just my 2 cents on that. But Garrett, I know you have to get to your Vinegar Syndrome talk.
Yeah.
I want to thank you, and I'm sure, you know, Christian's got things to say to you, but I want to thank you for being on here. Seriously, great conversation, very organic. You guys talked about some things that I wasn't very knowledgeable about at points there, so I just kind of let you guys have your little nerd out about some things like Sega and whatnot. I didn't play that. I did have an I was a big Nintendo guy growing up. I had an N64, Super Nintendo, so yes, I can relate to that. But yeah, it was awesome, great guest, and as always, it was really nice talking to you.
Hey man, thank you so much. I appreciate being on. And again, like I said, I didn't realize before tonight, like how many little details you knew. So you taught me a lot of stuff today about movies that I didn't know, like a lot of backstory about. So no, it was definitely fun being on. I thought it was definitely a good conversation. I think that we all had solid picks, and you know, we all had kind of different angles that we went at with these, which I think kind of made it all kind of work. So definitely thank you guys for having me on for sure.
Oh yeah, and you gave me a brilliant idea. I'm definitely starting the episode with that close up of Nick.
Fuck.
I'm
no, but
that's.
I mean, you talk about clickbait, right? It's perfect.
Yeah, it is. But and let me just say this to close this, guys, to the audience. That is just my opinion. I'm not saying you have to agree. I'm not saying I'm right.
It doesn't matter. I'm cutting all this out.
It doesn't account for taste. I'm just
cutting this out.
I'm just saying, okay, well then I'll double down. Fuck it. No, fuck it. Dr. Sleep is a motherfucking masterpiece. And I will not accept anything other than you realizing, you're right, Nick, it's a masterpiece. Please take it easy on me in the comments. I love you guys.
All right, guys. We love y'all. We'll see you next week.
Hey, thank you, guys.
This has been a production of the Uneeda Horror Podcast. You need it, we got it. Thank you for listening.